This is an interactive presentation, so I'm not just going to speak at you for 20 minutes, and then we're going to take an hour-long keynote and turn it into a 20-minute presentation. So feedback is good. So I want your guys' participation here. I want you to raise your hand if you've ever had a good idea. Oh, good, everybody, almost. Who's had a lot of good ideas before? Who has fully implemented all of those great ideas right now in your business? Excellent. So you come up and talk for the next 19 minutes. So what happens in this society is we have tons and tons of information. And where the breakdown is we don't have very great execution or implementation of those great ideas. And there's a few reasons why. Next, raise your hand if you have commitment issues. Go ahead, you all do. Raise your hand. So, who here has ever made a commitment to someone and then not followed through completely? Would you agree that's an issue? So we all have commitment issues. And what happens is we make these commitments. There are two kinds of commitments. There are the external, outward stated commitments. I'll drop that off. I'll come to lunch with you. I'll email you the presentation. Those are all external stated commitments. Who here has a lot of those that you make on a regular basis? If you're in this room, you probably have a lot of those. What we don't really mediate very well or manage well is the internal, unstated commitments. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Who here has ever had the thought, that's a great idea, I should be doing that, I wish I could, someday I will. Those are all unstated internal commitments that we make to ourselves. So if we're making a commitment to someone else, that's important. If we're making a commitment to ourselves, that has to do with our integrity to ourselves. So a lot of times we underappreciate the power of that. And so we're out of alignment, we're out of integrity with ourselves, and we wonder why we have this sense of unease. So one of my coaches called this open loops. We open up all of these loops, right? So all the things we should be doing, we could be doing, someday we want to do, we paid for and are not using, right? All of those things are open loops. And so what happens, anybody remember like the open loops, the little spinny thing on your computers? Just sit there and thinking and it's thinking and it's thinking. Anyone feel like your brain's like that sometimes? It's because we have all of those little spinny things, all of those little open loops waiting to complete. And so we carry around all of these commitments in our minds, and we walk around in a state of overwhelm. So we're constantly overwhelmed. Anyone felt overwhelmed lately? It's like how we live in today's society is we're like, I'm overwhelmed. And we say it like it's, a non-negotiable, like it has to be that way. And it doesn't. There's a way to mitigate that. We just don't think about it. Or we don't have a process for doing that. So our minds were not made, they're not created for storing information. It's not a placeholder system or a filing cabinet. Our minds are made for creating and inspiring and connecting and problem solving. I'm sure you guys have all been there before where you had a problem, you're like, I should be able to come up with a solution. I'm just drawing a blank. I'm like completely overloaded. And it's because we have all of those things going through our heads. So we have so many great ideas. The problem is not a lack of great ideas. The problem is a proper vetting system for determining a great idea from a right idea. So there's ideas that are good in and of themselves, and yet they don't fit with your life. They don't fit with the other systems that you have in place. They don't fit with the people that you've committed to already. They don't fit with what your why is. They don't fit with your team. So we don't have a vetting system. Let me tell you a process. Hopefully you guys can see this. If not, there's a video. Go watch it later. So we have this process. So we're kind of going along in life. We're getting a little better. And we see this guy up on stage, right? Or we go to an event, we meet the guy who's doing $200 million in volume as a loan officer, or they made $4 million last year. Maybe they made $400,000. That's what you want to do. So we see this person and we go, oh, I wish. So we open it up another loop. Next year I'll be on stage. Next year I'll do that. We see something we want. We want better because we're human. We all want better. Nobody wakes up in the morning going, I hope I regressed last night. We all want to be better. So we want to go towards those things. And what happens is we see something. Anybody familiar with the term shiny object? Or if you've watched, kids movies, like I have 3 kids, squirrel.
Yeah.
Right? And so we see these things and we get distracted and we immediately think, oh, that's a great idea. And so we latch onto it. So we see the guy on stage and we say, oh man, that's such a great idea. I want to do that because I want his results. I want his status. Whatever we perceive him to have that we think we lack, or her, we want that. So we're like, okay, great. I made a decision. Right now, I'm going to do that. So we make that decision. What we don't look at is what's coming next, which is the implementation part of it. Now, if there's one person on stage in a 15,000 person event, that's probably because they're the best person at that one thing. And they're probably not the only person in the room doing that one thing. They're just doing it the best. So we see it and we under-anticipate the challenge. So we're like, okay, I'm going to buy that system and I'm going to implement it. So we start doing it. And then we hit the obstacles that they didn't tell us about when they sold us the system. Right? This is hard. They didn't tell us it was going to be hard. They just sold these results. So we jump on the bandwagon. We implement. We get to this point. This is where we're frustrated. We're like, man, I didn't see all the work that this took. So if you're in real estate and you're geofarming, you're like, okay, I didn't know that it was going to be 12 months or 18 months before I was going to start getting a great return on my investment. What do you mean I have to send postcards for that long? It's expensive. Your CFO comes to you after 6 months and is like, we haven't made any money off this yet. And they show you the bill, how much you've spent. You're like, whoa, sticker shock, wait a minute. But I want to be that guy, so I'm going to keep trying a little longer. So we keep trying a little longer, 8 months. They show us another bill. We call this the Valley of Despair. So now we get to the place where we're like, oh, this is not working. It's so hard. And typically this is when whatever industry you're in has another conference with a vendor hall. So you go there and you see another shiny object. You're like, oh, squirrel. And so you see this thing and you're like, oh, man, that geofarming, that doesn't work. I tried that. I'm going to do video marketing. That's the millennials, and it's the way of the future, and I saw this guy speak, and that's all he's doing is free, which is great. So we leave this one right here. Sometimes we cancel it, sometimes we keep paying for it. We collect like these recurring automated bills. And we go back to number 1, we see another shiny object, like video marketing is free, that solves this problem right here. So we get on that, and then we hit what? The obstacle is that, wait, I gotta be on video? I'm not comfortable with that. So we start to see the problems, the reasons why everybody in the room is not doing this at that level. And then what happens is we hit another valley. Well, it's been 6 months and I still haven't shot a video, so I'm just going to cancel that. We see another thing and we jump on it. And we just keep going in this cycle, and what happens is we never get to better. Because we don't fully commit and we don't actually vet the entire process and plan for it. Who here agrees that sometimes you guys run into obstacles when you're implementing? And yet, we don't think about it up front to plan for those things. Of course they're going to say no sometimes when you cold call somebody. But I've seen people that, they're cold, they said no, they shrivel up and die. Yes, they're going to say no. That's typically what happens a lot of the time. It's a numbers game. Once you do it for this long, you get these results. People quit before they ever get here. So if you actually continue, though, and you have a methodology in place that allows for success, any Star Wars fans in here? You get to A New Hope. You get to the New Hope. I got 2 listings, and one of them was a $1.2 million listing. Off that geofarming, bam, I just paid for my whole year of marketing. So we get A New Hope. We see the light. We start to get some confidence in the system, and if we persist, we get here. This is what we call the new normal. So we get to the new normal. We have a system in place. Now, this is what typically people go, okay, this is now boring. Right? Because I've done it for a long time. And I've been, same script all the time. Bold, I've taken bold this many times, right? It's boring. Well, yeah, how many listings have you gotten off that, though? Right? So what we do is we see a new shiny object. And shiny objects are exciting. We like exciting things. So we go, okay, this is doing all right. I'm going to just jump over here and start doing this. That's good. That's making me money. Well, if you put all your time and energy and money into this, what happens to this one? It starts to regress. So now you're like, well, this isn't working so well anymore. I'm just going to dump all my money and time into this. And we start over. So Kaizen is about consistent daily improvement. It's about getting better and better and better all the time, one step at a time. What we all want massive overnight evolution. I just want to be better, but I don't want to work for it. And I don't like plan for the process. I just want like the magic pill. And I'll pay a lot of money for that magic pill, right? Anybody ever bought a magic pill before? So I had a great coach one time. A lot of you guys may know him, D.R. Whitson. He taught me once you have a new normal, build a fence around it. When you have a new normal, when you've finally gotten there, build a freaking fence around it. Get somebody to manage that system if you're not going to do it. Plan for it, know what the metrics are, what the lead and lag measures are, and keep it going. And then go find another shiny object and try it out. So we don't have a way to evaluate these things. So who sort of start with why, or purpose, or intention, or your big why. So all those things, I call it your North Star. What moves you? I was at a mastermind we were running in Hawaii last week. Great speaker there. Said, move towards that which moves you. She said, move toward that which moves you. I love that. This is what moves you. So this is our vetting process. If there's so many good things, how do we know what's the right thing? Is it in alignment with what moves us? Is it in alignment with our purpose, with our why? And then you have to choose 4 things. You have to first evaluate it. The next thing you have to do is you have to decide. Now, decision literally means to cut off. So you cut off all those other distractions, all those other options, and you commit. It'd be like getting married and saying, you know, I'm going to try it for a while, but I'm not really cutting off my other options, if you know what I mean. How well is that marriage going to go? Not spectacular, right? Yet in business, we like to do that. We like to dip our toe in the well. I'm not really going to commit all the way to that thing. So to decide, cut off those other options and commit. Separate your decision making from the actual implementation. So instead of making spontaneous decisions, make calculated decisions. Have a plan. There's a great book and system. Please write this down, called the 12-week year. The 12-week year. I don't care what business you're in, it will help you. The 12-week year is a system for going from your idea to execution on a daily basis. Separate your decision making from your action taking. Who's ever like intended to work out, probably, in the morning and then not done it? So we go to bed though, leaving ourselves the option. Well, I'm gonna work out tomorrow morning, probably. I'm really gonna hit it hard this time, if it's nice weather. And then in the morning, what happens? Oh, it's so warm, and I'm so tired. Right, and I haven't seen my running shoes in 6 months, so I probably wouldn't be able to find those anyways. I'm just gonna go back to bed. And we do that over and over because we allow ourselves the latitude to escape commitment. So if you separate the decision making, you say, you know what, this is a non-negotiable, I'm going to do this no matter what, and then you remove the obstacles by saying, I'm going to find those freaking running shoes, and I'm going to put them by the foot of my bed, and I'm going to choose which clothes I'm going to wear. And then I'm going to call my friend, and since I want to run at 7, I'm going to have them sitting outside at 7 o'clock, waiting to honk their horn and wake up all the neighbors if I don't come out. Right? Make it accountability insured. Make it accountability insured. Have somebody there, a checks and balances system, because you know what, we're all weak in the moment. But if you decide ahead of time and remove the obstacles and put systems in place, friends in place, whatever you need to do to make sure you do the things that you intend to do to get the outcome you really want, then you have Kaizen. You get better every day. You show up and you do the work. Once you evaluate and you decide, you have to plan. Again, I recommend the 12-week year. Have a clear and simple plan that removes the obstacles and tracks the metrics for success. Find somebody who's done it and just copy the freaking model. Success is simple. Just find, okay, that person's done it. What do they do? How do they do it? Copy the model. Remove the roadblocks and obstacles. Get some accountability and have big rocks. Have those things that are non-negotiables. If I just do these things, these 3 things, 90% of the tasks get done. Everything is handled. There's 50 other things that encompass the last 10%. And if I get to that, great. I'm going to do the 90% though. And then execute. Brian Tracy says, eat that frog, right? Do the hard thing first. Don't put it off. Usually that's the thing that's moving your business forward. Do the boring things. It was either Gary Keller or Jay Papasan that said, make peace with the boredom of mastery. Make peace with the boredom of mastery. If you're good enough, you probably will not be excited by it so much anymore. If you've done that listing presentation or that sales presentation 5,000 times, it's probably not like, oh, this is exciting. I'm going to do a listing presentation. You're walking in, you execute, you leave, you get them signed, you're done. It might be boring, but that's what makes you the freaking money. If you don't want to be bored, get a hobby with all that money that's really, really exciting. And do that. Habit stacking. Layer your habits. Get a good foundation and just stack one habit on top of the next habit, on top of the next habit, and get to the place where it's easy. Have you ever done something before where you've done it for like 3 years and you're just like, this is what I do? Like, working out, it's not hard anymore because it's just, I go to the gym every morning. I don't have to talk myself into it anymore because it's just part of my being. Work on habit stacking because energy management is so much more important than time management. And what takes a lot of your energy is having to constantly decide, should I not, should I not. Once you get to habits, it's not a should I not anymore. It's just going through your day. It's execution at a high level. Do the right thing versus the easy thing. Every 2 hours, I have on my phone, it goes, do the right thing about the easy thing. Because I'm constantly telling them I like the easy way. I got ADD, I want fast and easy right now and just get it done. And yet, if you want excellence, if you want unusual, if you want exceptional long term, you have to do the right things. You have to do the hard things. Make it a part of your life. Make it a part of your internal mantra. Do the right thing, not the easy thing. Say it, and then we'll wrap it up. Win the day. Find a way in your business to win the day. Anyone ever go home and think, oh, I didn't get everything done? Anyone ever get everything done every single day that you have in your business? Like all caught up, I'm 100%, it's 3 o'clock and I got nothing left to do in my business. It doesn't happen anymore, really, almost ever in business. And so how do we approach the end of the day? We're like, didn't get it all done. So we walk in the door at home, and what are we doing? We're on our phone, right? And we do this to our kids. And then when they're trying to talk to us, we're trying to process what's happening. And then, okay, I got to, hey, you know what? It's great that you did that. You're not even really listening. And what the hell does it matter if you execute well on the presentation tomorrow if you lose the relationship with your kids? So if you find some way to win the day with the people that I coach, and I coach all the way from people making $100,000 a year to people making a couple $1 million a year, doing 200 million in productions, loan officer, those kinds of things, it's universal. You feel better when you have a way to win the day. If you go, I won the day. You know what? There's still stuff on my desk. I won the day. You leave feeling good so you can actually engage with your family and you can show up the next day excited about what you do to win the day again. It's part of your internal conversation. It's highly important. So if there's one thing that you do from this presentation, just one thing, set metrics in your business for winning the day. And then Kaizen, get better. Every single day, get better and get better. We got a booth back there. I have Andy O'Shea, who's a masterful leadership coach. And he's going to be back there. I've got this book by James Colburn called Re-Succeed that just came out. Wonderful, wonderful book. He was one of those top producers that was ignoring his family, and he wrote this book about succeeding again. And it's Awesome. We have a couple of copies back there. So thank you so much for your time and attention. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to turn the mic back over.